I struggle oftentimes to keep the main thing. And maybe you're like me and you get drug into the forest and you can't see the forest from the trees. And so subsequently, you need somebody to come alongside you and ask you some difficult questions of, is this really the most important thing that you can be focusing on right now, Tim? Or a variation of that would be, Tim, it seems like you're really getting caught up in the details of the situation. Maybe you should take a step back. Have you considered that? Tough questions to answer. And, you know, I, I haven't figured all of this out just yet. And I'm continuously on this journey of, trying to be better at leaning into my strengths, leaning into the things that I'm really great at, while shifting to other people who have complementary strengths, those things that just don't make sense for me to focus on, so that my energy is really directed towards the things that energize me and keep me going. And the things that I find less important that I don't have the practical aptitude for, I go, hey, why don't you do this over here? This would be really great for me. And so I don't know, how familiar you are with the concept of a disk inventory, but one of the things that I've taken a couple of disks and I generally have landed by average in the same space of being somebody who's very analytically focused. Now, that is my natural tendency and style, according to the disk inventory. My adjusted is right in the center. And I've learned this over the course of time that my adapted style serves teams well, because in the whole ecosystem of leadership behavior, having learned to shift to the center from this quadrant out here where I'm very analytical and I'm running scenarios in my head and I'm trying to think through all the what ifs and assessing the risks and blah, 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 blah. That adaptive style it's a huge superpower for the strength for the team, because leading into that, it has become a strength for me. And so, being a high C, I naturally trend to that, but I don't dwell there. And this whole forest from the trees and being able to not get mired in the details has, this goes back to the previous series of videos, has become a, a habit that I've developed over the course of time. And staying focused on the right things and the right priority is a skill that any one of us can develop. And it's all going to boil down to our willingness to make that investment. And I'm not advocating that your behavior is wrong or my behavior is right. What I am suggesting is that to be better and more well-rounded as a person and as a leader, it is good to entertain this whole concept of, hey, if I'm focusing on this, what is that at the expense of? If I am getting drug into the forest and I'm mired in the details and I'm supposed to be having these conversations with my stakeholders over here, is really that the best use of my time? Is that the best investment of my energy and effort? And if the answer for you is no, and you haven't gotten to this may be the aha moment you were looking for, then you can develop the aptitude, the skill that you need to be able to pull back and ultimately refocus on the things that matter more. And it's hard, it's challenging, it's uncomfortable, and it's the whole roll over, crawl, walk, run, fly continuum. And by the way, I probably need to draw up something to illustrate that, because that has become a thing that I've been using in many conversations here recently. So this whole aspect of humanity and being able to pull back and refocus and self-reflect and assess where it is that we need to be, investing versus those things that could be better done by somebody else who's got that capability. That is both art and science. And it's something that each and every one of us has the ability to choose to learn. And so think about the next time that you're put in a situation where you're going down that road, and see if you can pull yourself off that path, pivot, go back the direction that you had just come, and then choose to make that fork and lean into the things and the strength that you bring to the table that really matter to the folks that you work with. So, learning to see the forest from the trees, learning how to not get caught up in the details. That is the point of this Life Lesson Learned video brought to you by Tim Unscripted.